Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tony DeMakis with Alliance Specialties and Alliance Laser Sales, where we are mold makers that don't build molds. The shirt says it all. We do all the other things that you mold makers need done: polishing, laser welding, laser engraving, hot runner repair, mold maintenance. We do all of that stuff so that you can focus on what you need to do, which is building molds and getting good parts out to customers. So if you need us at all, we're here for you. We're located in the Chicagoland area in Wakanda, Illinois, 2 different locations out here. And then in our Prairie Grove location, we build and sell laser welding equipment made in the United States. That's really, really important to us. We think that American made matters. And so if you believe that way also, then be part of the Manufacturing Alliance, be part of what we're doing here. Buy American, work with American, build American, play American. It's all wrapped up together. So that's what we do. We also have a facility in California. In California, we do laser welding, laser engraving out there as well to help out all of our customers in that area. And we're really, really glad to do that. So if you would like to work with us, well, we'd like to work with you too. So let us know what we can do to help you out. We've got a couple of amazing things coming up. Our golf outing, which you just saw the video for, is coming up on September 20th. It happens to be my wife's birthday. So if you see her at the outing, make sure you say happy birthday. She would love that.
You know what she'd love more?
What would she love more?
She would love it more if people donated.
Oh, if people donated, yes. If people showed up and they donated to the cause, that would be amazing. Why is it not showing up here, but it's showing up there? I don't know. Who knows what's going on with our system right now? But yeah, so if you would like to be part of the event, you don't have to be able to play golf. What you need to be able to do is have a good time and be willing to give back to a cause that really matters. All the proceeds to the event are going to our friends at iWarriors. iWarriors gives combat wounded veterans iPads to let them know that they're not forgotten, to let them know that they're cared about, and to allow them to talk with their loved ones when they're going through physical therapy and rehab and all those other things. So great cause. We love them. We can't wait to support them again. It's really, really exciting. So please, please, please come sign up, be part of it, be a golfer, be a sponsor, whatever that looks like for you and how you want to give back. And we're just going to say thank you. So you can just scan the QR code that is on the screen. If you don't have a QR code because you're listening online or you just can't do it because you're using the thing that you would use to scan, go to alliancelasersales.com/golf and you can join us. We are going to be, before the golf outing, we're going to be at IMTS. IMTS is coming up in September. It is the 9th through the 14th. We are going to have a pretty substantial booth for us, at least. We're going to have the newest laser engraving systems, the newest laser welding systems. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
The newest stuff?
The newest stuff. Stuff that nobody's ever seen before. It's
Wow.
brand new. It's
so you would say the newest stuff is, dare I say, some of the best stuff?
It's pretty darn exciting. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's Trump say? Some might say.
I wouldn't, because
Right.
I'm humble, but some say.
Yeah. So it's going to be, that's an amazing show. It's in Chicago. We are still trying to figure out our E210 event, our community outreach plan. We've reached out to a couple companies that we're really, really, really are going to hope come through for us so that we can make that happen. If they don't, God will provide another way for us to give back and do something in the community. I can tell you we're confident about that. So that's the other thing we have coming up. And while you're at the show, if you are in the market for a laser welding machine, laser engraving machine, and you think, why Alliance? Well, I'll tell you why, because we like to make a difference. We saw the movie Sound of Freedom, and there's a line in there that says, God's children are not for sale. And that is 100% true. But American-made laser welding and engraving systems are. They are for sale. They're built by our guys and our team in Prairie Grove. They do a great job. I would say they're the best. Hands down, the best. I'll put them up against anybody else's equipment. Our guys do a great job. I think one of the things that separates us is the fact that the guys that are building the machines are also the guys that have used the machines. And so we've developed knowing exactly what we need because it's our industry and that's what we do. So come and be part of change. So every machine sold, every ID1, every Alliance Advantage laser engraving system, every machine that we sold that we build here in the U.S., a portion of that sale is going to go to the Tim Tebow Foundation to help prevent and end human trafficking around the world. So things that we're excited about. I mean, that's a few of them, right?
Yeah.
We've got some more shows coming up. So we do this show live every week. Every week on Wednesday at 1:30 Central Standard Time, we do this little show that we call the Manufacturing Alliance Podcast, where we tell stories of what's happening in the manufacturing world in America. That's really important to us. And so today is the 31st, and it's not Anthony, it's my son Jack. Anthony couldn't make it. We will have him on a future episode. August 7th is our friend Brian Warren. And then August 14th, we're going to have Mitch Free joining us. August, was that say 21st?
Yep.
That is Jacob Sanchez, who most of you probably know. He is all over social media. And then August 28th.
Yep.
That is David Ramirez, who's a friend of the show. He's been on the show in the past. Great guy, big into additive manufacturing. Really, really knowledgeable. I can't wait to talk with him. And then we've also got some guests scheduled in September, but we will wait to tell you about those. Yeah. And if you'd like to be a guest, we are looking for more people. We're looking for more guests. We want to tell your story. We want you to be part of what we're doing because it's really, really important. It's how manufacturing is going to continue to grow in the U.S. And so if you are interested in being part of the show and telling your story, then you can email Jack here. That's right. Jack, what's the email address?
The email is Jack, simple enough,
Yep.
at themanufacturingalliance.com.
Yep. And all you got to do is send him an email, and Jack will get back to you and give you the details on what that looks like and how we can get you on the show. That's about all we got to start with, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So this show is live. We do that intentionally, not because we're never going to make a mistake. I can guarantee you that we are going to make a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
This show is live so that you, the audience, the listener, the viewer, can be part of what we're doing, can be part of the conversation. We think that's really important, and we think it's a fun part to the show. You may be listening, you may have questions, you may think, "Man, I would have asked this," or "I really want to know that," and so that's what we're doing. We're giving you an opportunity to share your thoughts, voice your concerns, voice your opinions, and really be seen a little bit. So if you're out there and you're listening, go ahead and put your name in the chat and in the comments wherever you're watching. Facebook. No, it can't be Facebook. There's a story there. We can get to that later. Whether it's YouTube or LinkedIn, really those are the only two right now. But go ahead, throw that in the comments section, and we'll give you a shout out. We'll say who's there, what company you're with, and what your thoughts are. Today I'm excited because I get to hang out with my son, which is always fun for me. And it's fun today because this is the future. This is the next generation of workers, of manufacturers, of people that are going to be in the workforce. And so it's exciting to have him here and to have him working with us and doing some marketing and some social media. And so here we go. We've got our first person chiming in, our friend Camille. Come on. Well, I want to go. There it goes. Come on. There it goes. He says, it's great to see you guys. Keep it going. We're the best. Listen, we're not the best. You're the best. Let us know what you want to know, what you want to hear, and what that's going to look like. So, Jack, so you're done with high school. I know that because we just had your party.
Yep.
What did you like about high school?
Oh, boy. What did I like? What I liked was, I guess this is going to sound a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But for our 4 years, I would say COVID probably helped a little bit.
I was not expecting that. How did COVID help?
It made high school seem not like a big deal.
Okay, how so?
So like first year it was COVID.
Yep.
And all the teachers, they're pretty chill and
Okay.
super not lenient, but like understanding with
Okay.
certain things. And so it was way more friendly than everything that middle school teachers tell you that it's going to be. And so that just helped it because the teachers didn't know what was going on. The students didn't know what was going on. We were all in this like whole thing together. And that made the first year so much easier. And same with the second year. The second year, the teachers were also way more understanding because we did a whole year of high school where we didn't know the layout of the
Mm.
school. And so, again, sophomore year was incredibly chill and welcoming.
Yep.
And then junior and senior year, you're upperclassmen. And so you got the hang of it. And the teachers, they just went through what they went through. So I feel like they're more chill.
Yeah.
And so it was all just, it made it just seem like,
Like you were all just going through it together.
yeah, we were all just going through it. Like
Yeah.
no
That
one was really like a teacher and you're like, whoa, this is a scary teacher.
yeah.
It was like, yeah, this is dumb. And we're all going through it.
So by the end of it, school got better.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you did learn some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's completely normal now. And it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, would you say that your high school career, because
Hmm.
that's what you know, your high
Hmm.
school career, would you say that it was preparing you at all for like what life outside school might be,
Oh,
as far
man.
as work or other things like that?
I don't know
Okay.
because sure, with work, there's overtime,
Yeah.
right? And so if you need to do more work, you go and do overtime.
Yep.
But for school, a lot of the times it's you have homework.
Yep.
You don't have time to do it in class.
Okay.
You just don't have time to do it. And typically with overtime, you're doing stuff that needs to get done,
Yeah.
where a lot of homework doesn't need to get done.
So it's
It's
busy
just
work.
busy work that's not important. And so a lot of it doesn't get done. I didn't do a lot of homework. So for those who don't know, homework, they like break up grades into summative and formative. And like summative is like 70 to 90% of your overall grade, and the formative is the rest. So in a lot of your senior year, junior year classes, formative work is 10% of your grade. So homework would fall under formative. And so because the homework would just account for 10% of my grade and I'm making it up for in the tests, I just wouldn't do the things that I didn't need to do. And so I would say that that's a little backwards because typically at work, if you have something, if you get given something, it needs to get done.
Yeah.
There's no 10%. You can't just not do something and get away with it and make it work.
Well, you shouldn't be able to.
Right. If you're going to succeed,
Right.
you can't do that. And so that was a good uh, skill that I learned is um, playing the high school game. Like I walked out with probably 5% of my homework done in my senior years, and I walked out with A's and B's. And so, like, that's not reflective of how work is now. Like, if you work now, you have a job and you have a task, and you have to get that task done. Nothing is busy work.
Right.
It all accomplishes something, which is not something that school helps with, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you cracked the code when it came to high school. I mean, I don't necessarily know that taught you the greatest. Well, I mean, I guess it did. I was going to say, I don't know that it taught you the greatest life lessons, but at the same point, um, what you were able to figure out and do was like, what are the things that are important that are going to help me to succeed and give me the results that I want?
Yeah.
And what's the extra that I don't necessarily need to worry about?
Yeah. 100%.
And I think maybe to me, there's a lot of people in business and life and in manufacturing that like we get stuck in a lot of the the paperwork and the things that don't matter. And we forget to focus on the things that really, really do matter, whether that's the people or the customers or whatever. We just get stuck in the day-to-day stuff. And you were able, like I said, you were able to crack that code and just say, like, no, I need to I need to do the things that I need to do to find success,
Yeah.
not all the other busy work and fluff.
Yeah. And my teachers were not happy.
No.
Most of them. The ones that gave out homework all the time, they were annoyed because I wouldn't do the work and I'd still get A's on the test.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Did you ever get accused of cheating?
no,
That's good.
it's because I have such a good personality. And so no one would think that's a guy's a cheater.
No teachers were ready to call you out for that.
Mm-mm.
That's good.
They wouldn't find anything, but
You're just too good for them.
yeah.
And no, you
Yep.
didn't cheat. That's the thing.
No, I did not cheat.
You didn't have to, because, well, listen, I feel like if you're a good teacher, then you don't need all the homework, because the kids are learning it while they're in class, and then they don't have to take it home and do it. What I realized, like, as a kid, I hated homework. I thought it was stupid. But it was graded differently than yours. If you didn't do your homework, I mean, your grade suffered substantially. So that my grade suffered substantially because I didn't want to do it either. But I also didn't get great grades on the test because I didn't do the homework.
Mhm.
I didn't have your gift.
And that's typically what it is. Like, oh, you do the homework so you can get the good grades on the test and you can learn the stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I was able to pay attention in class and understand all the concepts and not have to do the homework because the homework wouldn't help. It wouldn't help me learn it.
Right.
And so because I knew the concepts, I didn't have to do the homework, so I could focus on other things and give my time to those, like youth group and track and anything I wanted to do, instead of being focused on homework.
Well, and getting rest, right? That was a big thing for
Yeah.
you too.
Yeah.
Where I was going with that was that I think it's a kudos to your teachers that were able to teach you well enough to know those things.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise what happens is when I was a kid, I didn't do the homework. I didn't like the homework. I thought homework was stupid.
Mhm.
Then as a parent, I didn't like the homework because I felt like it was too much. And all it was doing was teaching you and teaching other kids that you should go to work all day. You should do everything you're supposed to do. You should put on the effort. And then when you come home, you should keep working. And it doesn't allow any time for a break. And so I think, my personal opinion, there's too much homework, but I'm not a teacher. And I don't think teachers like grading the homework either. So, I would say just stop with the homework. I mean, some is fine, but
Yeah. Now, all my teachers were great. Like, I just didn't need to do it
yeah.
because they were so good.
And not everybody can say that.
No.
And, I remember when you first told us that plan, right? Like, I'm going to do what I need to do good. And that was it. And, the response is like, if you can pull that off, good for you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't, then you better get in and do the homework.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at that, right, and what it looks like, as far as school and homework and life, one of our friends, Doug Tucker from Scouts, and he was following us when we posted this, and he wanted to know, 18-year-old kid, man child, what are your expectations now as what you think a typical workday should be?
So I would say it's a little goofy with
Mhm.
where I'm at, because focusing on marketing stuff and focusing on growing the podcast and growing all that kind of stuff. And so there's not like a bullet list or to-do list
Yep.
of things to do. And so typically, like, I'll get done with a lot of the stuff that needs to get done. And I just kind of sit there and go, all right, now what? And I'm in a weird spot because, unlike you, I've just started. And so you say you don't know anything. I really don't know anything.
Yeah.
And so you have connections, you have experience, you know people. I don't know people. I don't know businesses. I don't know things like that. And so it's hard for me to go off, like get all my stuff and then go off on my own and go like, okay, yeah, this would help if I focused on this.
Mm-hmm.
This would help if I focused on that. Um, yeah. And so like sometimes I get done with work and I go, that was work. I got paid to do this. Like it didn't feel like work.
Sure.
And I guess that's just weird to have a job and to get stuff done and to have it not feel like work.
Hmm. Well, I guess it depends on what work is, right? Like
Mhm.
a lot of people say, find something you like to do and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yep.
And what I'm hearing you say makes me think that I need to be a little bit better of a manager, leader, and give you a little bit more direction. I think that's an area that I struggle with. If you work at Alliance and you think this is true, please tell me. I don't like the concept of micromanaging. I never want to micromanage, and I want to allow people like some autonomy and freedom to like explore the position and figure some stuff out. But I might have to give more direction.
Yeah. Or like guide.
Sure.
Because I would assume people at Alliance know way more than an 18-year-old who just graduated high school.
Most times, yeah, I think so.
Most times,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I guess knowing who to give your direction to and yeah. Because if I knew what was going on, I would not want direction.
Yeah.
But since I don't know, yeah.
I remember Andrew Sargent is listening with us, and he is. Come on, Eric. Come on. He agrees.
Yes.
I'm glad that you agree. I think that was about the homework thing. And you've always had that mentality. So I remember when I first started at Alliance and we went and cleaned out the conference room, and I had you come with me, and we were pulling up carpet and we were like getting rid of garbage. You were asking like how you were going to get paid. Do you remember that?
No.
And you said, I don't think people should get paid by the hour. I think they should get paid by the effort.
Yeah.
Do you still believe that?
Get paid by the hour and no, not get paid by the hour. Well,
So-
getting paid by the hour is kind of like getting paid by the effort.
Well,
Because you could just fake it
Yep.
and go, well, I'm just going to clock in and piss my time away.
You could.
But
So I remember
if
when
you
we
get paid by the hourly, I feel like if you were to hire someone to be hourly,
Yeah.
it would be on you to make sure they have good work ethic.
Yes.
Because it's
To get
like,
to
it's the
maximize time.
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you saying when we were doing that, you said basically, I mean, you were younger, and you said, if I get the job done, why does it matter how long it takes?
Mhm.
Like if I just work really, really hard and I get it
Yeah.
all done, why does it matter how long the job takes?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be punished for working faster and harder and getting it done sooner. I should be rewarded for that.
I still agree with that.
Yeah, I thought that was
I
a
still agree with
fantastic
that.
statement.
Yeah.
If everybody had really, really strong work ethic, that would be a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, just like in school, there's people that go and they coast and they do nothing, and
Mhm.
especially on partner projects.
Mhm.
I think it was one of your favorite classes was the you guys had the incubator model.
Yeah. That's a caption.
It is a caption, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about what that looks like, incubator.
So Incubator, for those who don't know, it is a college class in a high school. And so it is all about entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Yeah. And starting a business and what it looks like to start a business and doing all the processes. You look at COGS,
Mhm.
cost of goods sold. Yeah, I know that. And all the other stuff. You look at looking into target markets, their needs, their desires, whether this product would benefit them? If it doesn't benefit them, how are you going to either change the product or change the target market? Um, it's all those really good actual life lessons
Okay.
and learning to work with people and reaching out to people. I did a lot of that during my incubator class. Um, reached out to, we just went into our product was it's called the Chili Achilles. It's the best product by far. And it is a portable, collapsible foot and ankle icer for injuries that you get. Because typically I'm an athlete and I know, and I'm an injured athlete, so I really know that injuries in your feet and your ankle are the hardest to take care of because they're just so annoying because it's a stupid spot to ice. And so we wanted to fix that. And so one thing we did is we just went to the running depot. We're like, hey, can, can you look at our product? Is this something cool? Is this a good idea? Like, do you think that this has a place in the running store and or like in the market? And you're like, yeah, it's a good product. That's good. We could carry some of those here. Oh, perfect. And so working around, we did a whole bunch of surveys and interviews with athletes,
Mm-hmm.
and we had them test out the product um, and give us feedback on it. And like through that feedback, we would build the product better off of their feedback.
Yeah.
And just making it into something that people want
Yep.
and actually working with a business model that will function.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that I'm assuming you like that class.
I did like that class.
Yeah.
That was a good class.
I mean, you got friends watching this. Part of them were on your team. Did you get frustrated with that class?
I did get frustrated. I got frustrated a lot. Mr. Peckart, I don't know if he's watching this, but shout out to Mr. Peckart. One thing he told me is he was like, in the beginning of the class, he's like, you want things to be perfect.
Mm.
And if certain things don't meet your expectation,
Yep.
then you go off and you do them or you end up doing more. And he's like, you got to stop doing that. He's like, you got to delegate better. And so for the second semester, I did delegate better. And it was really difficult to do that because it felt like towards the end, not all of my team was in it as much as I was. And so it was difficult because I needed to delegate because I had track going on. That was 2 hours, and youth group going on. That was another time. And yeah, it was difficult to balance, and it was difficult to be okay with the quality of work that was shown.
That's a hard one.
Yeah,
That's a hard one.
yeah.
I think that
Because like, do you lower your standards or do you bring everyone's else expectations up? And if you do that, how do you do that?
yeah.
You know?
I think part of it is getting everybody to believe in the product wholeheartedly,
Mm-hmm.
where they want to see it succeed as much as you do. Right.
Yeah.
Gary Vaynerchuk talks about all the time. Somebody asked him, how do I get my employees to care about my business as much as I do?
Mm-hmm.
And his answer was, give them part of the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Otherwise, why would they?
Yeah.
You should care more than anybody else.
Yeah.
As the top dog, as the top rung. But with what you were doing, you were in a partnership with people. And so you were expecting them to jump in as much as you were,
Mm-hmm.
which is also a difficult thing, especially when they don't. And then being
Yeah.
able to try and navigate what that looks like. We have a question for you.
All right.
What is easier? It says, what is easier?
That's working.
Crafting a compelling offer or getting a qualified lead? So crafting a compelling offer would be like, how do you create that offer to a potential customer? Like when you go to the running depot and you want to
Okay.
pitch them on carrying your product, you have to give that compelling offer, right? Or getting a qualified sales lead where you know that somebody is interested in purchasing.
Of what's easier to do?
Yeah,
Well, it's always easier if somebody's already interested,
true.
you know? Um, but I would say it's more fun to get people on board, and that's something I did a lot because a lot of people would go, "Well, okay, you have this bucket that's cool and all. Why don't you just use a 5-gallon bucket?"
Sure.
And I could be like, "Pah, this is why you don't use a 5-gallon bucket." And I was able to tell them and like why ours is better than theirs. I'm like, well, why don't you just use an ice pack? I'll tell you why you don't just use an ice pack. And like slowly through doing that, you would get people who'd be like, oh yeah, this is better.
Yeah,
Like this is something cool. It's like, you know what would make this better? If this had this, if the elevation had padding, if
sure.
and I would have people come up to me in the hallways who weren't totally invested. And then through, I guess, making them a compelling offer and showing them really everything that the product had to offer, they'd be like, whoa, how's it coming? Did you incorporate this yet? And be like, yeah, we're working on it. We are going to do that. That is a part of our presentation. That is a part of our slideshow. And like, it just got people more invested because they were a part of the process.
Yeah,
And I would say if you are invested in something and you believe in something, it's way easier to make a compelling offer and get somebody else on board. Um, so for me, it's easier to make people want it instead of finding the people who want it. Making a compelling offer, I think, is easier for me.
yeah. And I think I would agree with you. I like the marketing side of things so much.
Hmm.
I love putting together the ideas, the blueprints, the concepts. How are we going to get people involved and interested in what we have going on? Like the fact that we're giving money to the Tim Tebow Foundation
Yep.
to try and end human trafficking, right? We believe very strongly as a company that making a difference matters. That's something that we want to do. It's having gratitude in all situations and the integrity to do the right thing no matter what, even if nobody's watching, and the
Hmm.
tenacity to fight through and do that.
Yeah.
Now we put the offer out there. Whether or not anybody takes us up on it is a different story.
Yeah.
I think it's way easier to create a compelling offer. That qualified lead, um, you have to find the right person, right? The person has to believe what you're doing also,
Mhm.
which is the sales side of it. Not, and you could say manipulating them to believe what you want them to believe, but that's really not it either. It's just finding that spot of like, where do they care and what do they care about, and how can you help them get the thing that they care about?
Mhm.
Um, and that just, I mean, that takes a lot of time. That's just learning to listen to people and develop those processes. So, does that answer your question? I hope so.
I hope so too.
If
Yeah.
not, dig in a little bit more and just keep pushing us a little bit because I like that. It's fun. It's fun to be able to push through some of those things. Um, so, Incubator taught you what it's like to be an entrepreneur, to come up with a product, um, and work within a team
The skills
base.
of owning and managing a business
Yeah,
and people.
yeah. So now that you've been at Alliance for a little while. You've been
Yep.
in quite a bit of the meetings that I have. And does it seem anything like what you were doing with Incubator?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like we had a whole bunch of um I guess you have more in-person stuff than we
Sure.
do because we're not an actual business. We're just high school students. And but like just going, "Hey, can you help us with this?"
Sure.
Yeah, we can. That's perfect. And like we had our mentor was phenomenal.
Who is he?
He was, oh man, it's been a while. Steve. I think it was Steve. I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
You could be.
I gotta check.
He's gonna
Now
check.
I feel bad.
Well,
Hang
don't
on.
feel bad. You've been out of school for a little while. It's okay. I'm
Different
sure.
brain.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that they'll forgive you. But it's.
Hopefully.
I found that when I left college and I got a job, the stuff I learned in college was almost obsolete to the stuff that I was learning while I was at work.
It's Steve. I was right.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Good.
Yeah, and so like he hooked us up with his brother Scott, who works at Lyondell Basel. And so what he did is he made us a like mold plan.
Okay.
So we could know how much everything would cost to
Yep.
actually create our stuff. And like it's just meeting people, having fun, or like getting to know people. And a lot of it is having fun with people.
Yep.
And like being in meetings you have, it's like the exact same thing of just people trying to figure out how they can help each other out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say I'm not walking into different meetings you have and going, whoa. Like I'm walking in there and I'm like, yeah, I've done this before.
Yeah. You've seen it.
This is not new to me at all. And like it's cool watching them because I've led them and like I've talked a lot during them. And so it's cool to see like different sides.
Yeah. Do you feel like we're gonna jump around slightly?
Oh yeah.
When you were in high school, or even just your friends now, do you feel like they have any concept at all about what manufacturing is?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Like,
did they talk about manufacturing in high school?
No.
Was that mentioned at all as any sort of like career path or option or anything?
I mean, it would all just fit under the blanket umbrella of trades.
Okay.
Like you got college or you got trades.
Sure.
And there wasn't much depth to what those things look like unless kids who are interested ask more about it.
Okay. So they would have to know, like, I don't want to go to college. I kind of like welding. Show me about welding.
Well, I know there's a whole lot of people who are like, I don't know what to do. I guess I'm going to college, and who just don't know.
Right.
And they also don't know what the trades look like or what they have to offer.
Yeah, and I think the hard thing is right now we're in such a skills gap in the trades that we're looking for more and more people that just want to work, that don't want to go to school, but they don't know how to get involved in something new, and they don't even know what's out there. And that's why I was asking, like, do you feel like your friends? I mean, you got Miles. Miles knows that things need to be made. Miles knows manufacturing.
Oh yeah, he does.
There'll be more coming about that soon, but not yet. Miles knows what manufacturing is, but were there many other kids that had any thoughts about that at all?
I mean, typically what you would get is a lot of people going into the automotive career because they like cars.
Sure.
And so because they like cars, they're going to go in and focus on cars.
What about like 3D printers or additive manufacturing? Did you have many friends that were dabbling with that?
Yes. There was a lot. We had there's like the engineering classes.
Yep.
And through that there's the 3D printer.
Yep.
And so like they work with the 3D printer, they create stuff. Yeah.
Did you ever have an interest?
But it was not called additive manufacturing.
What was it called?
3D printer.
Just 3D printer.
Yeah. Do you want to go use the printer? It's in the printing room.
Yeah, these are the parts that you make. Just go make the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at that now, though, you had this thought that we're looking at on the screen, how hobbies and passions connect to manufacturing. What does that look like for you?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Oh, here we go.
Had no clue this was going to come up. So I am a big dinosaur and Godzilla guy. And so one thing that I really like is the different action figures. And I was looking at them and I was like, wait a minute. That's the same mold that's getting used over and over and over again, and it's just repaints. And I was like, huh, okay. So if you have like one mold of Godzilla, and with Godzilla, you can have 7 different repaints, that mold is going to pay off for itself incredibly quickly.
As long as people like it and they buy it.
Yeah, right? So that's going to pay off for itself incredibly quickly. And then you can use that money to make a new mold for a new action figure. And then through that one, you can also make different repaints
Yep.
for different things that it has. And I was looking, I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And like, okay, so if you want to improve the joints, how do you do that? Do you have to change all of it, or do you have to change like just the arm joint? Like if you want to put better articulation in the elbow, right? Do you have to change the whole arm, or do you just have to change like the bicep and the forearm? How does that work?
Sure.
And so like now that's been something I've been getting into and looking at more is when a new action figure comes out and like a whole new mold is created, I go, oh, they're definitely going to make more of that.
Yeah.
Or like, ooh, how did they make that? That's really cool. And yeah, like through that's opened my eyes. I'm like, this is really cool. Like this is fascinating. Um, yeah.
And one of the things that's fun is when you look at, like, you get a toy or you're looking at it in the store, whether it's whatever action figure it is, you're inspecting the paint, you're inspecting like to make sure the seams are there, make sure there's no flash, make sure that it's the right one. That's the one you want. You want the most perfect one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the quality matters to you
Yes.
and all the things. I mean, you're not buying the cheapo action figures though. So
No.
there's that.
No, like it's yeah, I'm not buying the cheapo one. So like it's weird when you get like one and a joint is loose and you go, well, how'd that get messed up?
Yeah.
Did that get messed up through them putting it together, or did that get messed up through the actual manufacturing of it? Because if it would get messed up through the manufacturing, then it would be messed up on all of them or most of them. And then you look at some toys. There was one recently, the Hammond Collection Giganotosaurus. That one had a lot of quality control issues. And so a lot of problems would get through with like paint on the face, extra paint, different parts getting put on backwards. And
Was this a
so
known thing? Like, were people talking about it?
yeah.
Okay.
And so like people would pre-order it, and so you couldn't like pick it out.
Ah,
And so they just ship it out pre-ordered. And then you'd get it and you'd be like, what the heck? This sucks. My arm's on backwards. This is so dumb. And recently at San Diego Comic-Con, this company SH Monster Arts showed off their Godzilla stuff, and a lot of people are nitpicking on not nitpicking because I mean it's $150 action figure. It should look good.
You should make sure that it looks good for a $150
Yeah.
action
And
figure.
so like a lot of the things aren't done right or well enough. Like paint's not there. Like I saw one thing that this is back to Jurassic World, that a leg was put on upside down. So you had the calf connecting to the knee. No, you had the calf connecting to the ankle and the ankle connecting to the knee on one leg, and the other leg was normal. And like, how are you going to take this and show this off at a
Right.
convention center
As your best product?
Yeah, and like if that's your best,
Yeah.
then shoot, I'm definitely not going to buy this.
Right.
And so like that whole aspect of like, okay, well, how did this go wrong? How does this get better? And then looking at it and going, wait a minute, all these different action figures, if this is the same mold, that's going to need to get work done. that's going to need to get repaired and get all that stuff. And so like that has been my interest. And so now my eyes have been open and like I'm looking at more things with it,
Yeah.
which has been super interesting.
I remember when you were a kid and you loved dinosaurs, and maybe you remember this. You were frustrated with the seams and the joints in all the dinosaurs. And you would say, like, that's not what a real animal would look like. You can't see the seams and the joints. And so you wanted to develop a toy that had like an endoskeleton.
Yeah, it had skin on it.
And then had a skin on it so that you couldn't see it. I think that's a fascinating idea. I don't know how you do it. If anybody knows and they want to talk about that, let's figure out how to make dinosaur toys with the actual, you can't, or whatever animal it is, where you can't see the joints and the seams and
I think Hot Toys does a really good job at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how they do it, but they do a really good job. And you see some action figures where it's like clothes on and like you can't see the joints at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well that makes sense.
Well,
but then again, those scare me because you can't see the joints.
It's like a real thing.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, can this go past here or no? Ooh,
I see. Bit. You don't want to break.
Yeah, so I think that's why they get shown in some cases, so you can see the tolerances.
Well, plus it's also easier to do that than trying to come up with a way to make skin.
Well,
but challenges are made for that.
Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit before about leadership and what that looks like. What do you look for in leaders?
What do I look for in leaders?
Yeah, like people that you want to follow, or how you want to lead.
I guess people I want to follow are people who I can look at and go like, I could either one, get along and be friends with this guy, or I would like to be like them in some way. But then again, not all leaders are like that. You get some leaders who are good leaders who you don't necessarily want to be like. And they just get the job done. Like, yeah, they were effective, but
I don't want to follow them.
No, not really. And I'll use the example of high school track coach, Coach Frericks. He joined our junior year, I think. And typically he was coaching football, doing that. And like he was just new to PR track.
Sure.
And PR in general.
Yep.
And so like what was cool is he was coach. He was coach. And like we were athletes. But with the relationship we had with him, it was more like this. To where
so he was still coach. He was still above.
Yeah.
But it was more level.
Yeah. And like he would tell us, I'm like, hey, if you have ideas for workouts, let me know and we'll do them. If like you want, let me know how you're doing.
Yeah.
And then like if we're all really sore, we're going to do a lighter day. We're going to stretch more. We're going to have a lighter day. So muscles are still active, but you're not going to hurt yourself.
Yep.
And like that's awesome. Like I think a good leader is an honest one and a humble one. And so like if you're leading and you don't necessarily know everything, you shouldn't act like you know everything. Like us varsity guys, we knew what was going on, but we knew that he was coach.
Sure.
And so no matter what, we would listen to him, no matter what.
Yeah.
And he knew that he was coaching us. So if he's going to coach us the best way, he had to listen to us and get our input too. And so like it was a very back and forth open communication thing with our coach. And I think there you go. I think that's a good leadership quality is open communication. And you can't lead someone if you're not communicating with them. Well, you could. You just,
you'd
tie
be bad
a rope around them
Yeah.
and then start yanking them.
Well, that's not necessarily leading. That's pulling. That's dragging.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like you want to be like, hey, is it cool? Are we doing the right thing if we go this way?
Sure.
You know the path better than I do. Is this right if we go this way? And like open feedback and work through management and people under management. I think that's good. I think that's really good.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Good.
I mean, I've told you before, I was really impressed with your coaches for a number of reasons. And
Yeah.
I think one of the things that you told me that was cool is like I was struggling with some ideas and some concepts, some leadership stuff. And you said like, Dad, you like our coaches
Yeah.
because you see a part of our coaches. Like you see the really encouraging part of our coaches. You see when they build us up and they give a speech and they pat us on the back and give us the rah-rah. But there's another side of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what's that side?
That side is, all right, we need to get stuff done. Like, where I just talked about Coach Frerichs and how he's awesome. And like, it was really collaborative. There you go.
That's a good word.
Yeah. But that only happens if we do our job, if we put our effort in. And yeah, like I remember I wasn't here for this and it really upset me because I wanted to be there so bad. There was this kid who was not putting in the effort, who was just there to be there.
Won't name names.
Won't name names, but everyone on the track teams, it was a moment in history. And coach yelled him off the track. And everyone was like, yeah, he had that coming. And that was the only time it ever happened. And so, like, I think
What was the mentality that people had leading up to that moment? So like, had this been an athlete that was known for not giving a
well, I don't know.
full effort?
He was a freshman.
Okay.
But I do know that after he was called out, the team got smaller.
Oh.
And
Okay.
so it whittled away a lot of the people who even I was like, I don't want them here. They're not a part of the team. They're just kind of here.
Okay.
And they're not helping. And so like it's better for the team if they're not necessarily there.
Okay.
It's just not the right environment. Like if we are going to, right, end goal, get to state. If we're going to get to state. If you have athletes who are not pushing each other and not trying, they shouldn't be there.
Sure.
And like once coach yelled at that one kid, the team got smaller.
Okay.
And then after that, practices got better.
Yeah.
And that just it wasn't a need like to get yelled at again.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there were some people who had like off days and whatever, but like ultimately, there's two sides of leadership.
Okay.
One is the side of you need to be friendly and you need to be nice to people, but in that niceness, you need to set the expectation and have people understand like if that expectation doesn't get set, the hammer's coming down and the expectation will be met.
Sure. Okay.
I think that's pretty good.
So Andrew, it's very good.
Yeah.
Andrew gives us a question here. He says, as a leader, which is more important, relationships or results?
Well, I would say that I don't know if it's which is more important, but the way I think of it is like which comes first,
Okay.
relationships or results. Like if I'm going to start, I know that a lot of people on the track team, they like me and they got me.
Yep.
And so if you're going to get results from someone, I think you need to have a relationship with them first. Because if you don't have a relationship with someone, you can't. People aren't going to come through for you.
Yeah.
Um, and like that's. I think that's important. Like, if you're gonna you want results. Both results and relationships are important.
Yeah. I look at it like this, Andrew. I think it's a great question. I think it's something that people struggle with
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
The way I try to lead is through relationships,
Mm-hmm.
because people don't care about what you know until they know how much you care. So people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. If you don't have a strong relationship with people, then you can't lead them properly. You can forcefully lead them.
Mm-hmm.
You can make them do things. You can put the fear of God into them. You can threaten to fire people. You can do all that stuff, but that only lasts so long, and it's not genuine, right? If I spend my time yelling at people and demanding results, there's a good chance they're going to listen to me, but they're only going to listen to me because they want me to shut up and they don't want to hear me.
And they're probably not going to stick around if a
Right.
better option comes.
Right. And so I believe that if you can build strong relationships with the people around you, then everybody is rowing in the same direction. Everybody's fighting for that same goal. And everybody wants to put in maximum effort because they care about you and they know that you care about them, and it's reciprocal.
Yeah.
For me, again, as a leader, I know that we're not going to have success every single time. I know that there's going to be times where we miss the mark and maybe the result just isn't there. But when that happens, how do you care for and nurture and grow the people around you so that you can get to those results the next time?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think if you focus on results and put your emphasis on that, you're not going to get relationships. But if you put your emphasis on relationships, then through that, you're going to get your results.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was well said. That was well said. That was worth the price of admission right there.
That's what I was trying to say in my Kamala rambling that I did. But I just needed time. I needed time to get it out.
So when you go back to your other story about coach coming down on that kid,
Mm-hmm.
the only reason he was able to come down on that kid is because he had a relationship with the team.
Yeah.
If he didn't have a relationship with the team,
then you're like, this guy's a douche.
Yeah, he would have become the enemy of the team.
Yeah.
And by coming down on that kid, he built stronger relationships with the people that already had trust with him, because what that said was, I can put my trust in my coach because he knows what matters.
Yeah.
He knows that he can see when effort is not being put in.
Yeah.
And he wants the good of the team, not the passiveness of one individual. And so I think that you can harness that when you can when you have the relationship, you can push people further. And some people are going to break and they're going to separate, and that's okay.
Yeah. And like through having good relationships, you can, like coach, drop the hammer.
Yeah.
And then go back to having that good relationship.
Yep.
If you don't and you drop the hammer, you're just stuck.
Yep.
And you can't get out of that.
And it's like, and Andrew agrees with us. I'm glad you agree. You don't have to agree. Yeah. If you would have disagreed, it would have been a different conversation, and I would have loved to hear those thoughts. It's like being a parent, right? And I'm not saying that when you are managing people that you're parenting them. That's not my thought. But I feel like it's like being a parent where, like, you want the result of your kid doing what you want them to do or what they're supposed to do to keep them healthy and safe. But you also need to have the relationship with them, and they need to know why you want them to do those things, because you love them, because you care about them, because you're worried about their safety. And that's the relational side of all of those things. If you just have a good kid who sits at the table and eats their dinner and doesn't disrespect you or whatever it looks like, right? If that's the end result, to have that kid, but you have no relationship with them, I believe that you failed as a parent.
Mhm.
Because they're going to go out and they're going to become a parent one day. And if they follow your example, they're going to make a horrible child.
No, they're gonna go out and not be that good little well-behaved kid anymore.
I'm sure you've seen that also.
I have seen that also.
Yeah. And it's a delicate thing. It's a weird balance. Leadership is one of those weird things where you don't know. You're kind of flying by the seat of your pants. You're trying to figure out what that looks like for everybody. So I hope that helps. I'm glad that you agreed. My boy, my guy, Mr. Kyle Healy is with us, and he says, "How do you encourage growth in an underperforming employee?" You got any thoughts on that?
Well,
Okay.
I can't look at this from the perspective of the boss,
Sure.
but if I was an underperforming employee,
Yep.
I would like and appreciate
Okay.
if my boss, who knows I'm an underperforming employee, would this is where relationships come in.
Yeah.
And try and understand like why. Like is it like people learn things in different ways?
Yeah.
Is it they aren't understanding this way? Do they need it a different way? Am I getting stuck at this position? Like, is this not the right position for me? Like, if the boss would understand or like try and understand why I'm not performing as I should, then I think that's also helpful. And also making sure I know that I'm not performing as much as I should. Because it would suck if there's two different expectations out there and nobody knows there's two different expectations out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I think that's what I would want. I would want a boss who would be like, all right, hey, what's going on? Why? What's going on here? Like, what's the problem? I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think, again, it goes back to Andrew's question about relationships or results. And so I think when I look at it, you have, like Jack mentioned, you have to have the relationship with somebody so that you can go up to whoever this is. We'll call them Filbert, because I don't have a Filbert and nobody will get upset.
Right.
So you go up to Filbert and you say, "Hey, Filbert, what's going on? You seem like maybe you're off a little bit. Is there anything that you want to talk about?" And you have to have the ability to have a conversation where you can say, "Is there anything that you need to talk about?" And hopefully Filbert feels comfortable enough to be able to be honest and open about what's going on. And I think what you mentioned also is really important: setting expectations and making sure that the expectations are understood by both parties. So that you can say, "Hey, my expectation for Jack right now is that we have podcasts filled up and we can have interviews every week. And now I learned that I need to help him with that a little bit because he doesn't have all the contacts that I have. So he might be underperforming because he is not given the tools that he needs for success." And so that's a part of it. But as long as both parties know, okay, this is the goal, this is what we're hoping for you to achieve. Are you there? Are you not there? And how do we get you there? I think that, having those conversations, making sure that there's no obstacles in the way that are personal, I guess.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people have stuff going on in their lives that could get in the way of a lot of other things, and that's bad too. And you want to know what's happening, and you may not be given all the information, and just having empathy to what's actually going on in somebody else's life. But I think we've in my time at Alliance, we've had certain people that excelled right from the get-go, and then we've had other people that need some coaching and some coaxing and some figuring out and maybe switching positions and juggling things around and saying, "Okay, What's happening? We need you to be here. Do you like this position? Do you like what you're doing? If not, would you like to try and do this? Um, what are the things that you feel like you're doing well? What are the things that you feel like you're falling behind in? And how do we get you the help that you need? I think a lot of it comes down to special attention in coaching. Um,
Mhm.
one of the big misconceptions I think exists in work and probably school and coaching and everything else is that you have to treat everybody the same.
No.
I hate that idea with a passion. And I hear it all the time. What you do for this person, you have to do for this person. And it's completely ridiculous for so many reasons.
So
He's going to cook now.
that was embarrassing.
Yeah,
You got Chef
they said
Tony
it.
over here.
They said it in Deadpool.
They did?
They did.
Hmm.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, did they cook?
Mhm.
All right. I'm about to whip out the barbecue right now.
Oh, here he goes.
Yeah.
Kyle, buckle up.
Yeah. On a recent track call with my college coach, he was saying that, right, I'm a 400 runner. And so a lot of the incoming guys are 400 runners. And he's like, all right, just because you're a 400 runner doesn't mean you're doing the same thing that another 400 runner is going to do. Right? My body would react differently than somebody else's body would to a workout. And so he gave the example as there's two really good 400 guys on the team already. One excels with speed and the other excels in endurance. And so to train the endurance guy, it would be dumb if he was doing a lot of speed workouts because that's not how he gets better. So he's doing a lot of endurance workouts with some speed workouts. And for the speed guy, he's doing mainly speed workouts because it would be dumb to put him on endurance workouts all the time.
Yeah.
He's doing some
Sure.
because you need endurance to run a 4.
Yep.
But mainly he's doing speed workouts. And so figuring out what works best for each athlete and each employee is probably very draining, but it's going to give you more results. And yeah, like that. Different people are in different spots and they learn differently. And like coach was also saying, like, all right, if you're hurt, tell us you're hurt.
Yes.
Because it would be dumb to put you through these workouts if they're going to hurt you and not make you better. And it's like, okay, so if you're training some guy for work and this training stuff isn't working, he needs to be like, how do you show that he's good to come up to you and go like, okay, this training isn't working. Is there another way I can do this?
Right.
Is there another position I can have even then? Like what best suits me? Let's find that out. Are there ideas that you have for things that best suit me? Here are the ideas that I have that best suit me. Like again, keeping it open and having a relationship and having communication is good. Like I just kind of think of like how would my coaches do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then I base leadership off of that because they do a phenomenal job.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it again, I'm gonna circle all the way back. I'm gonna say it all stems from having the relationship. I don't think you can give encouragement to an underperforming employee if you don't have a relationship with them to first identify, listen, you're underperforming, what's going on? This is where you need to be. I'm telling you this because I care about you and I want to see you continue to grow and have success with us in the company. And I need you to be honest with me and tell me what's happening and what's holding you back. Um, and then the other side of it is sometimes the underperforming employee has to leave.
Yep.
Because you're not going to see eye to eye. You're not going to gel. You're not going to mesh. Whatever you can do, whatever you want, and maybe they just don't care about this job. Maybe they don't want to learn. Maybe they don't want to get better. Maybe they're just hoping to get a paycheck and go home. And there are plenty of people that are in that boat. And you have to understand that. And I think be okay that you can't solve everybody's problems, and not everybody is always going to be a perfect fit of the team. And that's why work is not slavery, and people are free to come and go as they please, and they can have the job, or they don't have to have the job. But it depends on that individual employee. And Kyle, I hope that helps. Hey, if you have more questions about leadership and things, there is the Global Leadership Summit coming up next week. Uh, it's going to be live at the Willow Creek Church in Barrington, South Barrington. Jack and I are going to be attending that, and learning some more useful skills. And I was actually thinking about doing some live feeds from there, where we can talk about what we're learning and what the sessions were about, and just pouring more out into other people. Andrew agrees with us again. Andrew, I like you. That we nailed it. Employee development is not a one size fits all. It's such a falsehood when they say you got to treat everybody equally, because not everybody wants to be treated the same way. Um, and but you have to know your employees, and you have to know your team and what they want and what they need from you, so that you can know what you can get from them. Now, I'm not saying you treat one person like crap and then another person you pour into. But I would say that it's a give and take relationship. So if you have employee A who goes above and beyond and says, "Hey, what do you need from me today? Like, I don't have anything to do. I'm looking for some more projects. What can I do? What do you need? How can I help?" Um, that goes a long way.
Mhm.
And then you have employee D or employee F. We'll say D, because F should be fired. But employee
F for
D,
fired.
yeah,
Yeah.
employee D doesn't have anything to do, and they just sit around and wait.
Mhm.
And they try to hide underneath the shadows, so that they don't get caught with nothing to do.
Mhm.
And they're there to get a paycheck, and they don't care about the success of the company. And there are those people, and that's a reality. And I think as leaders, like Coach, you have to be aware of that stuff, and then seek it out, try to figure out what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And if they can't be brought to the productive side of things, then, like Coach, you got to come down on them, and maybe it's time for them to go, and that's okay.
But you gotta do all the other stuff before it comes to that,
Yeah,
you know? You
yeah,
can't just jump there.
right.
You gotta be active in keeping them there.
Yes.
Yeah, and, like, what was really cool that Coach did, like, if I brought to his attention, like, "Hey, I got a boo-boo
Yep.
in my leg."
Yep.
Every single day, he would ask, "Hey, how's it going? Is it getting better? What's going on with it?" And, like, through that, I knew he cares.
Mm-hmm.
He wants me to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, from that, I can be open and honest with him and keep being open and honest with him
Yeah.
and going like, "Hey, kind of still sucks right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do."
Well, one of the things that's difficult is that they keep putting more and more guidelines and restrictions on employers and businesses, where you can only ask certain things. Like, if somebody's going to the doctor, I can't ask them how it went. I can't ask them if they're okay. I mean, they can complain and say that I'm being intrusive in their life. Um, so I mean, I honestly don't
So
care. I'm probably going to get in trouble at some point.
that's why you can't. If we didn't have a relationship and I was
Yeah.
out for a doctor's appointment, you came up to me like, "How'd the doctor go?
I can't do
Are
it.
you okay?"
Yeah.
Well, then I can understand people complaining. But if you have the relationship with someone and you're there for all the little stuff,
Yeah.
and you ask, "Hey, how'd the doctor go?" It's not your boss asking you, it's your friend asking you
Yeah.
or
That's
someone you
true.
know. And so because of that, there's no, I don't know, like, there would be less of a chance for somebody to argue that you're just being intrusive and you're instead just checking in on someone you care about.
Yeah.
And they would know that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I had a moment today. I'm not going to use names or situations or anything, but I had a moment today where a member of our team was out yesterday for personal reasons. And so I came in today and I said, "Hey, it's good to see you here today. I hope everything went well." And he said, "Yeah, we got things taken care of." And I said, "Okay, I'm glad to know. I'm just glad everything's okay." And he went slightly deeper. And so I went slightly deeper and I shared a little bit about how, sometimes it's hard when you have older kids and you don't know when they need you and you don't know when they don't need you. And you want to be there for them. But you also got to give them space. And then we had a moment, but not a moment where we were crying or anything, but it was a moment where we like kind of saw eye to eye. And it all goes back to the relationship. If you can have relationships, then you can get results. There's a book called The Servant Leader. It's one of my favorite books about leadership. I got it from a guy named Greg Eidenberger. He worked up in Michigan. He's retired now, but he was an amazing guy. He's not dead. He's just retired. He was an amazing guy. He is an amazing guy. Well, I haven't talked to him in a while. I assume he's still an amazing guy. But the book is about this guy who is a leader within a company, and he thinks that he knows how to lead, and he thinks he's doing all the things the right way. But he's ruling with an iron fist. And so the book breaks down what it actually looks like to be a servant leader. And spoiler alert, it points to Jesus, and it talks about how Jesus is the greatest servant leader that ever lived.
He really is.
And so when you look at leadership, are you living like Jesus? Are you loving the people that you're trying to lead? Are you caring about them? Are you putting it all on the line? Are you doing the things that are hard for you to do, but are good for them in the long run? I try to look at it and say everybody has the opportunity for that kind of love. It's just a matter of, do you want to accept that kind of love and reciprocate it back? And so it's a great book. I'll bring a copy next week and I'll just show it off so that people can see it if they want to. And maybe we can find a copy of it on Amazon and put it in the show notes.
Just put it right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put it right here too, so we can remember.
Yeah. It is a great book. If anybody, and it's small, it's like, it's about that thick, maybe.
Big words?
Big font, not big words.
That's
it's a great book.
That's awesome.
I think I read it in a weekend. It is a great book. I highly recommend it. And what Greg told me about that book was that it is mandatory reading at their company. Anybody that is going to be in a leadership position has to read that book. And if they get promoted, they have to read it again. Because what he was saying is every time he reads it, he reads it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Whether he was a young man, or he was a father, or he was a manager, or he was a grandfather, every time he's read that book, it spoke to him in different ways. So outstanding book. But when you look at leadership, relationships have to come first. Okay. This is the longest show we've ever done. Which is kind of fun.
Yeah, with the most participation.
Yeah, since Jack's been part of the show. I mean, we had a couple shows in the past that were around the same length of participation. We get more questions. The more questions, the better. One of the things that we like to do on this show, it's really, really important to us. We end every show with prayer. And so if you have any prayer requests, go ahead and put those in the chat. I know we got some people listening. We think that prayer is really, really important because it allows us to talk to the only person that can actually make a difference in this crazy world for us, the person that's in control of what's happening. And so if you have any prayer requests, go ahead and put those in the chat, and we'll make sure to pray for those as well. Jack, any other thoughts?
Caught me in a yawn.
Caught him in a yawn. That was unfortunate.
Any other thoughts? I don't know. We did pretty good.
I, I thought it was a pretty good show.
Yeah.
If you thought it was a good show, we'd love to hear from you too. There's many ways to be able to do that. So we have a new YouTube channel. It's the
Oh, there we
Manufacturing
go.
Alliance podcast. It's a new YouTube channel. We are going to continue to put stuff out on the Alliance YouTube channel as well. But we also want to grow this audience, which is different than what Alliance is doing. And so that's the title of it, the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. You can find it on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe. Put on the notifications. Like it. Do all the things.
There's daily posts.
There
So,
are
of
daily
all
posts.
the podcast highlights, not just the boring parts, the highlights.
Yes.
Highlights are good.
And we're gonna have some other stuff coming up soon. We're partnering with the TMA on a couple of projects. We're gonna see what those look like. And hopefully, eventually, we'll be back on Facebook.
That'd be a month.
Yeah, in August we'll be back on Facebook. Stupid story. A friend of mine just competed in like the tactical games. It was really, really cool looking. It was like military style. So you were climbing ropes and hopping barriers and shooting rifles and guns and all kinds of stuff. And I said, "Hey, that looks really cool." And she said, "It's super fun. You should do it." And I said, "Well, I would have to buy a gun." And I typed that in Facebook. And for that, I have been banned from Facebook. I am now in Facebook.
You're in the corner.
Yeah, I got grounded.
Yeah.
I got put in timeout for that. I don't understand. But listen, I did it. I said it. I guess I'll take the punishment. And from now on, we will be on Facebook. Now, we won't be on Facebook. We'll be on LinkedIn, and we will be on the various YouTube channels. So
Yep.
That's where you can find us. If you want to be part of the show, we want to have you be part of the show. I don't see anything in the prayer requests, but I'm going to pray for us, and then we'll wrap things up. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this opportunity to sit with my son and talk with him about things that matter. When we look at manufacturing and business and leadership, sometimes you think, maybe, does this really matter? Is this really what I should be doing with my time? But if we can do those things and glorify you, then it's all worth it. And you will use this in ways that we have no idea how that's going to look. God, we pray for those people that are listening today, whenever they hear it, that whatever it is that they're going through, that they would be able to put their faith and trust and hope in you, and know that you do have a relationship with them, and you want a relationship with them. And you want it to be reciprocal. You want them to say yes and trust you. And so, God, we just give you all the stuff that we're going through. We give you all of our stress and our stuff and our happiness and our joy and successes. And we just ask you to bless all of it and allow us to trust you in all the things that we do throughout all our days. And we love you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Well, that was a good show.
That was a great show.
That was a fantastic show.
That was a damn good show.
That's right. Hodge twins, we love you. We're not trying to steal your thunder.
No,
but we love you.
We can't do that.
We love you.
Yeah.
And I think what I like about it is just the idea that Andrew Starkowitz and I did a podcast together years ago comparing sports and business and what that looks like. And there's so many similarities that are crazy. In business, you wanna increase your sales. In sports, you want to increase your score. But it takes the same thing. It takes perseverance, it takes hard work, it takes good coaching, it takes good teamwork, it takes all of the things. And the U.S. Olympic men's gymnastic team was a perfect example of that. Just watching those guys and how they encouraged each other, even when things weren't going great. And you have specialists, and you have the people cheering, and you have the people encouraging each other. And it was just that's an amazing thing. So make sure that you're forming those relationships, not just trying to get the results. And like Jack said, the results will come, and that's really it. And sometimes the results are just better relationships. Go
Which is
figure.
a result.
Yeah.
You just might need to rework what you think a result is.
There's a whole thing there. What are the results you're actually
Yep.
looking for? Man, I guess we'll have to do another episode if somebody
College
else
call.
doesn't show up.
Yeah.
But on behalf of myself and Jack and Alliance, we want to thank you guys for watching and listening. If you got anything out of this show, please do me a favor and share it. We want to continue to grow this show, not because we have any crazy ideas that we're going to be rich about it, but only because we want to be a source of people being able to learn and grow. And we want to see this manufacturing community flourish and continue to get better. So please, please, please share the show. And I'm going to say till next time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.